Now, to end the killings in Benue and other north-central states, the governors and security chiefs met and agreed that ranching is the best way to breed cattle. Now, joining us from Abuja to talk more about this and solutions, of course, that have been talked about is Chief Executive Officer of Connected Development, Hamzat Lawal. Hamzat, thank you very much indeed for joining us this time. Well, the meeting that was held, it was agreed that ranching should be the best solution to the problem that we have on our hands at the moment. Do you also agree?
Well, currently we have a crisis on our hand. And of course, we need to find a sustainable solution, both short-term, medium-term, and long-term. If the ranch is going to stop the insensitive or the senseless killing, let us have the ranches and let's engage various stakeholders so that peace would reign on our land.
But then the federal government, through the Minister of Agriculture, is now talking about cattle colonies. A suggestion Benue State Governor has even kicked again, saying he doesn't know what that's about. Do you have any knowledge as to whether this will be a better option than the ranches?
Well, I think that the ranch would be much more effective because this would be a fenced piece of land that you would have access to water, you would have feeds for the cattle, and of course you would have a controlled space where you can always track activities happening in them. But then if you have colonies, you're not talking about a fenced location. And today in Nigeria, we have designated ranch. Only about 113 of them are gazetted, which over 300 are available. So I believe that by and large, the ranch would go a long way. But then, what policy and institutional framework do we have to ensure that this is holistic nationally? Because as much as some states have enacted laws to prohibit open grazing, it's important we have a national law passed by Parliament and signed by the President so that we know that irrespective of where you are, you're covered by a law. Again, I want to believe there's an opportunity here because we've seen that these cattle are being estimated towards a liquid over 3 trillion naira. Why can't we put in place policies and laws that would even generate tax from people who sell this cattle, and where we can control, monitor their activities so that people would be held accountable when we have such an instance?
All right, Hamzat, you just talked about law. Now, we have the National Grazing Reserve Bill, which is, of course, at the floor of the National Assembly at the moment. And there are some who are saying that this bill is likely to create more problems than it purports to, that it will solve in the future. And people have made reference to the Land Use Act. What's your opinion on that?
Again, we need to understand that climate change has proven to be a threat to us. Because before now, pastoralists don't leave northern Nigeria and then move east, south, and west, and even the north central that is causing this crisis. We need to change the trend. And of course, changing the trend means we need to find solutions, sustainable solutions. If there is an act already proposed by Parliament, I believe that what is not happening is various stakeholders are not engaged in this process. Are the stakeholders on the table? Are they willing to even come on the table and have this dialogue? Because we need to dialogue to find a sustainable solution to it. And as much as we're dialoguing, policy is key to ensure that we have a decisive solution. Of course, we need to also review the Land Use Act. Who owns the land and what is in the land? Are we going to still keep it in the exclusive list, or it has to go to the concurrent list? These are issues that we need to address to ensure that we move forward.
Hamza, let's also talk about the Miyetti Allah body now that encompasses there's cattle breeders and herdsmen. They remain a crucial stakeholder now to this whole lingering bloody issue, if I can add. But then they give an open resistance to the options of open grazing. We see them saying their breeds will not accommodate, or their breeds are not acceptable, so to speak, now to open grazing. Then they say our climate isn't attuned now to ranching. What can you say about that?
I think that government needs to find an incentive. If you put an incentive on the table, an incentive that ensures that every party is happy with the initiative, because Matana Allah is a key stakeholder. And of course, the people and the grassroots communities in local government are also a key stakeholders. The farmers that are being affected and communities that are being displaced are a key stakeholder. I think we just need to find an incentive that would allow all parties that are in grievance now and in disagreement to agree. Because as a country, we need to progress and always disagree to agree. And I believe government can unify these different stakeholders and put an incentive on the table that allows us to speak to each other and agree once and for all.